everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. I am going to show you a super fun card today, and then I was like, which one do I record first? Which one do I post first? Because they're both so cute, and I'm gonna do a tiny little Halloween series here. Before I get going on that, I want to remind you that the latest tutorial bundle, that's 15 tutorials in a PDF, it's like a book, of the international group of demonstrators that I am in, lots of names that you would recognize. That bundle is now on my website for sale, or everybody who spends $50 with me online in merchandise in the month of, what month are we in? July, is going to get this month's bundle for free. And this month we did fun shapes. So all the cards have a shape. They're not just rectangles. So this was my card on there. It won't ever be on a video or anything because it's special for the tutorial bundle. So that is up. Now I've done a whole series. If you go over to the playlist and you click online exclusives, you will see I've done a bunch with the latest releases of online exclusives that started at the beginning of July. And then if you're a demonstrator, you've gotten to see the holiday catalog. So we can actually order from it, like, I don't know, maybe the 5th or the 6th of next month. So you'll start to see things online, previews that demonstrators are making, and then customers can see it or order from it September 6th, I think, because it's Labor Day in there. So that weekend, the week after Labor Day, it's full of tons of fun stuff. There's a pumpkin spice latte set. I can't wait to get my hands on that. There's a lot of stuff. I will open registration soon for my Try It class. And if you're not familiar with that, in my Try It class, I will get all the new papers. So there's 10 new papers, there's 7 new embellishments, and 7 new ribbons. So we'll do projects with all of that. There's no stamping in it, but we use a lot of the imagery, and there's the most adorable reindeer. If you can't wait to see the catalog and you're like, that's not fair, you can always join my team. And the first thing you do after you get signed up to be a demonstrator is go have a look at that catalog. Everybody who's ordered from me since May will be getting a free copy. So those will go into the mail to you once I get mine, which will be mid-August-ish. So the people who order in July from me will get theirs first because it will go with their thank you gifts. But I said all that to say, if there's no Halloween sets, stamp sets, or paper or dedicated embellishments, a lot of times, that, especially if you do my Try It class, I like to mix and match. So a lot of times if there was, I think like the black check ribbon originally was part of a Halloween suite, but ribbon and embellishments, they're hard to be dedicated to an actual thing, especially Halloween or like the 4th of July, when you have to come up kind of with your own stuff. But there's no Halloween sets. So there are 2 Halloween sets in the online exclusives. This one is my daughter's. I asked if I could borrow it. So there's this one and another one. And then there will be a kit that makes a haunted house that is in there. And then I think there's some scrapbooking stuff that will come out. We haven't seen that yet in September. That also has some Halloween stuff. So you're all creative. And if you're not creative, just come on back to my channel and make these cards, because you don't need all the things. So I'm going to use this set Playful Ghost. Like I said, it's my daughter's. This is her card. So there's a difference between the way she goes with Stampin' Up and the way I do, because it's my full-time job. With her, it's just fun. So she makes videos and some things. She is going to make this video. But she often doesn't buy all the paper. I buy all the paper because I need it for the Try It class. So I have all the paper and I get it the day that I can order it, everything. So she very rarely gets paper. In fact, I often give her all of my scraps because she has so little paper. So for her, the fact that there's no paper wouldn't even be anything she would think of, because she wouldn't have bought it anyways, because when you're not buying a lot of stuff, you don't buy a pack of paper dedicated to a holiday where you may make 1 or 2 projects. So I'm going to show you, if you're like, oh no, how will I make my Halloween stuff? Because Stampin' Up loves to make it easy for us, right? They put it all in the little suite and you just buy it and you have everything you need. But you don't have to do that. So I'm going to use the Playful Ghost. On this one, I'm going to use the pumpkin. My other card has the little vampire, and you do want to come back to see that one. That'll post Monday or Tuesday of next week. So what I did was just colors you associate with Halloween. Literally, this is all stuff that was laying on my desk, and then I went and got a piece of Blackberry. And then I thought, well, what embellishments do we have that will work? I'm going to show you the opposite as how I maybe do it, because often you don't see the embellishments. So these have the Granny Apple, the Blackberry Bliss, and then white. So those are you could even use the garden green if you wanted to. I think these are part of the market, farmer's market suite. But for us, they're Halloween, because nothing makes, I think last year we had a little bats and ghosts. Those were definitely Halloween. But if you want some pumpkin pie colored ones, just take your blend. And I'll do this now so it'll be nice and dry when I go to put it on my card. And you can color these clear ones in whatever color you want. So if it comes to Labor Day and you want red, white, and blue and we don't have any, here's white, color one blue and one red, and you've got your red, white, and blue. So the rhinestone adhesives, any of the clear ones, you can color. So we're going to use these embellishments. And then there were so many ribbons. I almost went with this. But it is vanilla. We don't have the black and white check anymore, which I'm 99% certain that was part of a Halloween suite when it first came out. This is part of the Full of Life. It's the one with the rainbow paper. And look, it looks like ghosts and spooky nights, right? It's also very pretty. It could be on a wedding card. That's what I love about our stuff. It doesn't matter what you're using it for. So we're going to use that. And then I had a piece of this. This is actually peach pie, but it works. It's just peach pie is kind of a lighter version of pumpkin pie. One of these days I'm going to do a pie card that has peach pie, pumpkin pie, and pecan pie as my 3 colors. And then I had some Granny Apple. I did use it. I guess I cut it. Those. And then come back next week, or maybe the week after. I think it's going to be next week. You know, I've been creating my own shimmer paper. I did make a big old long video for the girls in Card Club, so they've started making their shimmer paper, or they will. Their kits are on the way. Here, I'll show you what we did for Card Club. So see, you just make your own shimmer. So that's what we've done for Card Club. Here's these 2 pieces. I know it's hard to see on camera. You can probably see this a little bit better, but I have a stack, because when you make the shimmer, it's easier to just go ahead and do it. In fact, on Chris's card, she has those 2 things shimmered. So here's a bunch of stuff I've been shimmering. You can shimmer your designer series paper. So I'm gonna do a video. This is where I was showing them how to stamp before or after when I made the Card Club one. So I wanted to have a few more pieces ready, and it has the dry time. And in summer, I don't work as often as I do the rest of the year. Starting mid-August, when the holiday catalog stuff gets here, is when I kind of kick it back into full-time job. But right now, I just kind of enjoy it. So these are the little scraps that I have of shimmer white that I made. And then I pulled out my nested essentials. So let's do a big one on this. And I just got all of the tags. So there we have that. I'll just stamp my little guy on that. So that's what we need of this. And then we have the Granny Apple. We'll just cut one of these. And then the peach pie we'll do in this size. This is why my paper always looks like this. But you can get every last little bit out of this. If you have stars, because I almost went to see which star dies I have. You know, when it pops out all the little tiny stars. That would be super cute in some of the glimmer paper on any of these cards. And then our little tiny one here. So I'm just going to send those through my cut and emboss machine. Okay, so we have all of our tags cut out. My goal was to, with this card, to show you a bunch of different things that you could do to make some backgrounds. And if I think instead of layering these across the card like I'm going to do, if you would just take your tags and layer them all up, they'd be perfect for a gift bag. I don't make hardly anything actually for Halloween. You know, my daughter's grown. Probably the only time I did was when she lived at college and I would send her something in the mail. But my nieces and nephews have always been close by home, and I used to always bake sugar cookies, which our family has a family recipe for sugar cookies. And as children, my mom did them in a pumpkin face, so I did that. Once I was done baking the cookies and decorating them, I was done. They weren't getting anything else crafty from me. So I'm going to try to remember to stamp all of the colors at one time. So let's start with this. So this is Blackberry Bliss. Let's make our background. I'm going to use Whisper White. So this card would have been perfect to send when she was in college because it's fun and whimsical, but it doesn't, it's not so childish that you couldn't send it to an adult. In fact, she's the one that bought the stamp set because she loves it and she just turned 30. So I am just going to stamp this. Every time I start on this side, I'm going to make sure my boo goes the opposite direction. And don't do them straight. If you do them straight and you get 98% of them straight, that one that's not straight will be like, oh man. So just intentionally do them all different directions, and then you don't have to worry about it. Now, half of these are going to get covered up, especially right here in the middle, so I'm going to just skip on over to here. So you could emboss it white if you want this to be super, super white. I kind of liked the way that you can see through it, and I will put a close-up picture on my website. It looks kind of cloudy and spooky nighty. So don't worry if they're not all perfect. Look, I almost missed. I have a niece, and we've always called her Boo. That is probably the way I've most used my Halloween stamps over the years, is when I take the Boo stamp out and put it on her Christmas gift, or when I used to make birthday cards for her when she was small. She is also grown. She's a school nurse. So there's our background as far as that goes. But then I wanted, you know, last year we had that cool glow in the dark stuff. So I wanted to make this a little bit like that. Oh, I have two of these. One of them's probably a gone one, and one's probably a new one. The one I used before worked perfectly. I'm just going to spritz a little bit on here. Yeah, this is the one that's working. And again, that's going to be right through the center, so I don't need to have the sparkle. Although this is a really good primed Wink of Stella. That's the one I used in the Shimmer video. So hopefully you can see that. Let's set that aside so it dries. It's super Halloween-y. If you scrapbook and you have, I did used to make scrapbook pages, you know, when your kids dress up for Halloween. But you could easily do scrapbook pages the same way and just do this and put your picture on top of it, which is the original way. Way back 30 years ago, we used to make scrapbooks. So let's do, we have these little pumpkins. I'm going to put those on my Granny Apple Green square. Just off a tad there. And then get one more over. I almost just left it. Then I decided to go ahead and fill the whole thing up with pumpkins. And then there's a little bat, which he'll be used again on my vampire card. But we have this tiny little thing and this tiny little bat stamp. Fits perfect on here. It's bats and stars. So we got that. And then I'm going to take this scrap here and do our ghost who's in the pumpkin. This kind of has that early 70s paper cutout feel to it. So there's our pumpkin. That's all the actual stamping we're going to do. Now we're going to color these in. So let's go over, we'll start with this. I'm going to have this tag here. So this is on shimmer paper, so it will be shiny when we're done, as is this. And let's go with some dark pumpkin. You can color on colored cardstock. It does obviously alter the color, but that's okay. I don't mind. And then on this one, I am going to kind of loop all the way around and draw like a little C on these with the dark. This is the dark. Loop that around. And then this whole top of the pumpkin, I'm going to color the dark. And then I'm going to take my tag, and this is how my daughter, who, you know, doesn't have a lot of background paper and designer series paper, makes her paper. So I'm going to take the brush tip. I'm just going to start up here. And on this one, I'm going to draw a nice thick line just once across with my brush tip. Again, the set's whimsical, so this doesn't have to be perfect. If you're doing something and you want it to be perfect, you could use a ruler and mark off so they're exactly the same, and then follow the ruler so they're straight. it's not that deep for me on a Halloween card. So maybe if I was doing a wedding card this way. So here is the light pumpkin. I'm just going to fill in the rest of this. And then now that that's done, leave a little bit of places where you just ever so slightly have some white. I'm going to take this up here and just get that cut part of the pumpkin and do it in the light. And then I'm going to, again, take my brush tip. And this time I'm going to do half over the dark pumpkin and half. So half of it goes into the white. So it actually is now making 3 colors on my striped paper. And then oops, gotta do this one. I was afraid if I laid these all here, because I didn't want to keep opening things back, but I was afraid I might forget. Now when you color on these papers, because I was like, do I want to color the pumpkin pie on the granny apple? Because that looks awful, right? What you have to do is take a little piece of scrap paper and color it, because when it's wet, it's a different color. So you can see that orange from the dark pumpkin is darker, and that will start to get a little bit lighten up to more orange as it dries. Now let's do, there's not a whole lot of coloring with the other colors. This is my dark, I thought it was granny apple. Well, I have a dark granny apple and a dark lemon lime twist. You know, that happens. But I think I only colored with one, and then I did both of them here. So I only did this. This is the lemon lime twist. Obviously, you can use either. And then I just did those. Again, not that deep, so I didn't care too much how they looked. And then for this one, let's take our bullet tip, which is going to make a smaller line. You have to be a little bit more intentional when you color it with the bullet tip. So I kind of draw a line and then go back and fill it in. And if you want fewer colors, you can do them all brush tips, but I want to get all the colors on here. And then when I'm done with this, I'll go back and I'll show you the one we did on that first card, because she has some more colors on it as well. So I thought I had dark and light granny apple green, and that's how they were stored in my case. But apparently I have put them together. So let's get the little brush tip. Just a bit of highlight right there. Or the bullet tip, sorry. Now sometimes on this corner down here, you may have to go back and fix that or add a pumpkin pie if it doesn't fill up with the other colors, but we'll see how we go. And then I have my Blackberry Bliss, and I took, there's tiny little stars on here, and really just dotted in there because they're so tiny that fills it right up. So our stars are now Blackberry Bliss. This is my dark. Because this is a whimsical set with a ghost in it. It's not like it has to be realistic colors, right? So I'm okay with going for the art factor as opposed to the realistic factor on this. Now I'm gonna go back to my brush tip. Go just under here, but you gotta be, again, and you can go half over the pumpkin pie because the two of those will blend together but not really change color. And the last one we have is our light Blackberry Bliss, which this is. And her little tongue. And just fill in the rest of this. And again, keep some white spaces in there. Don't color the whole thing solid. And our final step, I'm going to go back to the brush tip, and anything that's left white at this point just gets filled in. And now, like this color, those two colors, I want you to check out the two blackberries because right now they look very similar. As this one dries, it gets a lighter. See my pumpkin up here? It's no longer that horrible gray color. It has turned pumpkin on the granny apple. I should have done a little bit more pumpkin on that, but it's okay. Now, there's no dies. It's just an inexpensive little stamp set. So I'm going to take my snips now and I'm going to trim this out. Okay, so this is trimmed out. It's Move all those over and let's finish off our card. So go back to our ribbon that I have now buried. Here it is. So this is the iridescent striped trim. It is in the annual catalog. The one thing that I do like about the Halloween stuff being on online exclusives as opposed to in the holiday catalog, if you are a customer waiting till mid-September to get your stuff, it's pushing it for some of you, I know. So this way you can go ahead and decide what you want. The number of times that I tie ribbon around the card like this are very, very few. But we are going straight old school with a bow. And look how pretty this looks with this color and then the Wink of Stella that's given us a little bit of a starry night. So I'm going to take that. I want my bow to go this way, or so it stays straight. So I'm going to start with what kind of sometimes feels opposite. Make sure this lays flat. That way you can kind of control the direction it's going to go here in a second. So pull that tight. I don't want a giant bow. So let's make these a little bit shorter. And trim this so we're the right length. So let's start with this fun piece here. The little shimmer tag that we've made. I'm going to stick it right here in the middle, and I'm going to kind of make it like it's a banner hanging from this. Again, nothing on this card is too deep, so just kind of stick it up there, and then let's get, oh, missing one because I didn't color it. I'm like, where's my other tag? And let's go over to this side and take our oranges, see our pumpkins on the green, which now is the color's fine, and then get our little tiny piece here. And then I think this sparkle paper really just, it makes the whole thing, because we got a little bit of sparkle going everywhere, and then this just really kind of pulls that sparkle into it. And then let's grab a dimensional. I just use them because I just made this card. I hope you all are like me. Well, I don't hope that you are, because it's no fun to always be looking for your stuff. But I can start literally right with it next to me, and then as I start creating, it all just magically disappears. So stick her over here. Is it a her? And then let's grab those embellishments that were not Halloween. They're actually for a summer market card. And then let's grab this orange one that we made. So this is a pumpkin pie one. And again, you could color those any color. So that's a large one. Let's get two small ones. Here. So we need an odd number. So let's go back over and put a big green one here. And then another, I like the white ones. The other card I have two purples. Maybe I'll do two purples only because the background is purple. Move that up just a fraction so you can see that. So there you go. All it is literally scrap paper, and then the colors that you choose. And trust me, if you look through your embellishments, you will have some that will work. Here's my other one. They're all going to look pretty much the same. This one, I got a couple of good splatters down there. And I knew when I made this card that I should have started higher up and went a little further down. I like having some more booze down at the bottom, but it doesn't, nobody would notice. That's the stuff that we notice and nobody else does. So if you need a holiday catalog and you don't have a demonstrator, let me know. If you're one of my customers and you've purchased since May, which is when the current annual catalog came out. So as long as you've purchased out of the last, I do it by if you have purchased something from the last catalog that came out, you'll get one automatically. Information for my Try It class will be coming. The second one in this series of this is coming. And there was one more thing. Bonus days in the end of July. So you have a couple more days left to get a $5 credit to use when you shop in August. So all that information's on my website. Have a great one. Bye.